You guys will have to excuse some of the background noise. I'm at a Starbucks in the middle of the Adirondack Mountains right now, so there's not a lot of places with good Wi-Fi around here. Um, but we are going to keep chugging along regardless. Let's see. So today I'm going to be talking about poverty and incarceration regarding the conflict theorist perspective. So let's jump right into it. Right now, the United States incarcerates 2.2 million people, nearly half of whom are nonviolent drug offenders, accused people of being held pretrial because they cannot afford their bail, and others who have been arrested for failure to pay debts or fines for minor infractions. Poverty and excessive legal punishment contribute significantly to the United States' high rate of imprisonment, which has disproportionately affected low-income and minority populations. Conflict theorists cite that the fundamental causes of crime are the social and economic forces operating within a society. So we'll get a little more in depth about that. Let's see. So first and foremost, there are obviously some differences of outcome between rich and poor people. Conflict theorists also claim that rich people can pay bail and get out of legal situations, while at the same time excessive bail is used to keep poor people in jail. Harsh sentencing is often afforded to poor people who commit similar crimes. One big one that is very prevalent in my mind is the difference of opinion we place on crack and cocaine. Um, we'll talk about that. So, crack and cocaine, they are very similar in compound structures. They are very similar drugs, but it's the stigma that we place on both of them that makes a big difference. We have this idea that this drug isn't that drug, Schedule 3, Schedule 4 drugs. And it's because of this ideology and the sentencing differences that makes a big difference in regards to incarceration. Because, it's only, I don't want to say only right, but it's only logical for the police to go riding around in poor areas in search of crack because, why would they bring someone to jail if it isn't going to stand up in court? Meanwhile, the white collar and the wealthy people continue to do what they want to do because they get that certain leeway with the law and they kind of know that they can do it without having a lot of pressure from police, which would be very different for poor people doing similar drugs and doing kind of the same thing. Next up, I want to talk about labeling theory. So this is a big one, kind of that stands out to me in regard to poor people being given harsher sentences and being treated very differently in the law. You know, with labeling theory, we as a society kind of look a little bit down on poor people and people who are struggling, which, in reality, that can have a lot of varying reasons as to why they may be in that situation, a lot of aspects that kind of aren't in their control. But, um, a lot of the people who are doing this, it's they're minor or, victimless crimes that a lot of these people commit because they are struggling so hard. Not every poor person is out committing vast, big mainstream crimes that, need to be struck down upon harshly. A lot of these, when we place this idea of poor people being lesser, that they're, lesser in society, on the totem pole, it sticks with you. It places that mental label in your own head that you are different or that you are, a criminal or that you're bad, and it can lead you to do more of those things that people are labeling you as. Um, a big thing that I want to talk about is kind of the cycle of being poor. A lot of poor people are incarcerated for crimes involving money, and minor offenses, minor drug offenses, whatever it may be. And when you throw somebody in jail for not being able to pay a fine, or they have some sort of money that they owe, maybe it's child support, maybe it's anything, when you place that person in jail, it just kind of creates a cycle, because once they get out of jail, they now have an extra or a brand new criminal record, so it's going to be harder for them to find a job and actually pay their debts or anything that it may be. So then they're going to end up right back in jail, and then the cycle of being out of jail, not being able to pay, being in jail for not being able to pay, that can lead people to start committing crimes. Maybe it's selling drugs, maybe it's Maybe it's, stealing. There's a vast, list of things that it could be. Um, it is a big problem, without reducing poverty and more specifically income inequality, as well as racial bias and rolling back harsh sentences for certain crimes. The United States is not going to meaningfully reduce its prison population anytime soon, which is a really big issue. As you can see here are my references for this assignment, and that is all that I have got for y'all today. Let's see, how do I get out of here?